So, do you want to plot your chart like this? Everything goes into place, all the data enters, it automatically computes labels and adds them, and you get this beautiful result. Keep watching, I will tell you how. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. We're gonna discuss stacked segmented bar charts today, and as you probably know, they don't come with data labels in R. So we're gonna take an example from economics where we will have working capital to analyze. So I have my data here and I'm using RStudio for the analysis. So this is the console and I am going ahead to plug my data in. I am creating my data set, and as you see, my variables show up here. It's just some simple variables: accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash and bank, also the company name because we are going to use it at index for the chart, some inventory data, and some working capital. Now this data is percentages, so company number 1 is the first one in the list here. Company number 2 has values in the second position, while company number 3 obviously has the last values. So in order for me to use this data in a chart, I will create a data frame. So I will group all of my independent variables. That means the variables that explain working capital or cash flow into a data frame. So I'm taking all these variables into one data frame. So now I have my data here. You can see the data set. It is exactly the same variables. However, if I plot this data, it will not go so well because it has several dimensions. So if I try to make a bar plot of my data and I check the plot area here, nothing shows up. And that is because I need to transpose my data because my variables are not in the right order. So I will start with transposing the data. And for that, I need the data table library. So I will go ahead and load this one. Now I have my data table library active. And by transposing the data, I will turn it around. So what was the columns becomes the rows, and the row become the columns. So if you see the data here, if I print it, you can see that I have 3 rows, which obviously are the companies and their measurements. Now, for transposing, I will create a new data set, tdata, and assign it with the transpose function, and I will just transpose the data set. So now I have my T data. You can see it here printed. By pressing enter, hopefully I can view it in the console. So you see all the variables have now switched place. Instead of one row, we have it per column. So what is this good for? Yes, well, I would like my chart stacked. So this is the end result that I want. And therefore, I will also rename the attributes of my data. So I will write new row names. So row names of T data, that's the data transposed, they will be the old call names of data, because that is the only place where I have the column names. So I will hit enter for this one. Now I have assigned the row names, and the call names will be my variable company name. So call names of T data are assigned the variable company name. Okay, so let's see how the T data dataset looks now. As you can see, it has a new title. So before we had vector 1, vector 2, vector 3. Now we have company 1, company 2, company 3, which makes more sense in statistical analysis. So I will go ahead and start a new plot. That is a new plotting area, just in case the old one has settings which I don't like. And again, if I try to bar plot my T data, it complains, and obviously something is going on. So we are going to try to fix this, and the way to do this is to understand the structure of the data set. So there are different dimensions to the data set. So my structure for my T data looks as it shows here. It is a data frame of 5 observations of 3 variables, and they are numerical. So, okay, nothing strange there, but it will still not plot it in 3 dimensions because it has the labels, which are the company names, it has the values, and it has the variables. So it's 3 parameters. It needs to pivot it. So if I access the dimensions of the data, such as I am going to the first column, that gives me the first row. So no column here, first row, that is company number 1. Company number 2 is the second row. Okay, so in order to plot this chart that I need, the bar chart, which is a segmented chart, that means stacked, I need to understand the dimensions of my data. So by looking at the columns which I have here by row, I can actually access my data. So the first set is the first company. The second set is the second company, and the third set is the third company. That is what I need to plot. I will go ahead and set my parameters here for the chart. So I will name them optimal parameters, OP. And the parameters I will enter for my chart are the font, the type of bullets and the font, the axis size, which I like to 1.4, the title size, which I like to be 2.1. My labels will be horizontal. And now I am going to enter the parameters for the plotting area. And these you just have to experiment, but for my chart, which I like, I put the first value, the x, to 0.7, and I leave all the rest to 1. So these are all my labels horizontally with set sizes on the fonts. So now my chart area here is fixed. So to plot this, I will name it. So I will name it plot 1, and then I will write the barplot command because I would like a bar plot. And I will take my data here, which is the list that I'm after, and I will plug it in as data for the bar plot. So this gives me the basics of my plot. And as you see, it is stacked, it is segmented. The labels are horizontal, but there are no other details. That's 1 minus with R. Also, they do not have the data labels or whatever definition the chart represents. And I need to add this. So if I take my plot area here and I put my different commands in here. So if I now want to improve this data set, I will plug in some colors to begin with. You can leave it black and gray, but I would like my colors here to be vivid. Let's say I want to hand in this report, and I chose green, deep pink, orange, sky blue, and plum, which are all colors which I like. LAS I set to 1, that is the labels. PCH, that is the shape of the point, I chose 5. Although you can't see it now, it gives me nicer borders and areas. The limits of the y-axis I actually want to set, and I would like my axis to go from 0 to 40 instead of 30, because you see here it is a bit short. So I will plug in 0 for x and 40 for the height. That is the limits of the y-axis. Now the size, I would like to be 1.7 font size, and the axis size I would like to be 1.1, a little bigger than usual. I don't want any labels for now because I will plug them in differently. I will specify my parameters because I can't plug it in them here. My Y label I would like to have 2% because that is what it's showing. So I will just write % here. What else? Yes, I would like a title, so I will name it main, and my title will be cash flow analysis. And also for my labels, which I just previously talked about, I will add them last, and they will be the call names of the T data, that is the names of the companies. So this is my main title. Let me just fix this. Okay. And for the names arguments, I will plug in the call names of T data. Okay, let's try this out. This should give me a different chart. Okay, T data, why did it do that? Let me just fix this misspelling. So T data, and close the bar chart parentheses. Let's see. Now I have a nicer looking chart. So I have my height, as I specified here, from 0 to 40 Y limits. I have my font size a little bigger so you can see it better, looks more professional. I have my label on the y-axis, that it's the percentages with the percentage sign. And also here I have company 1, company 2, and company 3, just as in my data set, in my T data set. That's the transposed one. All right, so what's missing? I could add in a legend because we do not know what these values represent, even if I do have the variable names here. So I would like my legend to be at the top left, because at the top right I have my chart here. And I would mainly like the same colors and names which I had before. So I will just plug this in from before. Same values. Here we have BTI 1, PCH 15, that's the squares. I would like it a size 1.1, let's say. The colors should be the same, and the row names here should be in the legend with the respective color. So if you can see here, green, deep pink, orange, sky blue, and plum. And this gave me my legend here. So I can now tell that accounts receivable are green, inventory, accounts payable, working capital, and cash and bank. Okay, so now that I have my chart, I can see that it is still missing some values and also some design. So I would like to add the box for the graphics. I would also like to add the grid for the graphics. And that gives me a nice plot here. Now this might seem like basic stuff to you, but they are not so basic unless you know how to maneuver the data and understand the data structures. And that is why this is so important, because otherwise, without transposing this, you would have a totally different type of chart. Even if it's a bar plot, you wouldn't see the segmented parts, the stacked parts, with their labels. So, for the sum of the first, that was 21 point, let's see how much the first company had as a sum of percent, 21.55. Company 2 had a total of 24.56%, and company 3 had 34.4% out of 40. So to add this figure, I will use mtext, and that's mtext to put the total of the percentages above the respective companies. And the first one is 21.55. I will try to put it at minus line, let's say 18. I don't know. Let's give it a try. and adjustment at 0.15 because 0 is here and 1 is here along the x-axis. So let's just give it a try. Oh, my text is way down there. So I will try the same command with more lines upwards. So let's see, 26. 26 is way down. If I try 10 maybe, yes, I would need 11. So this is the way you figure out where to put your lines. And as you see, I need line 12 here. There we have it. Line 12 it is. Okay, so now that I have my chart here, I changed the colors. I mean, gray was fine, but if you would like to have it in color, maybe for digital products or something else, in a paper report, I'm sure it will look good. However, you know now how to change those. Next step is kind of the second purpose of this video, and that is to add the data labels, which you can see are missing here. R doesn't plot those by default, so I have kind of engineered a long way to get them there in case you really need them to be in the chart, which at times you do. So long story made short, I need my values, the same values that I plotted in the chart. So in order to do that, I will use this data here, which I plotted. Inside that gives the height of the stacked segments here. And as we can see, it's the values. So the percentage which they had of the respective variables, which are the rows. So the variables are here and the respective companies here. Now you see the values are for company 1 from up to down. However, in order to make a loop to figure out the line where it should be printed, because R doesn't do this by default, so we need to figure it out, I will make a loop for that. And I know that above here is line 12 because I tried it. So my whole plot here goes from lines down here at about 24 to about 12 there. So I will use this information to try to figure out where to put my values. Now this is a trial and error, but I will give you my solution and then you can tweak it in the end. So long story made short, I am making a variable a, which I will put, so a, I will assign the value minus 24. I will use these for the lines. And as you can see, A showed up there. And the way we will use these for the lines is with M text. Because if you plot the values with text, which you could do, you do not get the same result. You cannot put them in a specific place. Now, if you're fine with just printing out the values, that works, but it doesn't go well for me. So I will make a loop to calculate the lines for I, that is our iteration, in 5 to 1. I want it to go decreasing. 5 to 1 being the 5 values of the first company. So for I in 5 to 1, okay, I will need to write this somewhere else. So I'm adding an area for an R script so I can type my command before typing it into the console. So for I in 5 to 1, I want it to go decreasing because the fifth value is here. You can see that gets assigned to the big area because the other ones are smaller with the 2.93 on top, cash and bank. So for I in 5 to 1, I will make A, the value which I declared here, which is an array there. I will make a I, that is the position in A, which is the I, so from 5 to 1, to be assigned a value of A plus 2 times I. So starting at line minus 24, if we go up 2 lines per label, then A gets the new line value, so I can use it to plot it the next M text, and I will show you. So this is just the first calculation, and A being 24, I will plug this in, and I did get my I here. Now that is just the last value. What I'm really interested in is the A. So now you see I have the rows minus 22, minus 20, minus 18, minus 16, and minus 14. And that is where I would like my labels. Let's see if this is right by adding some mtext commands. And the mtext is supposed to print the values out. And to do that, I will start with thinking which values would I like to print. And the values I would like to print are these ones, just as I said before. So I will make a variable and put these values within the variable, which I will use with the I to print my mtext. So I will name these variables data labels, DL. So that is my values in a variable. Those are the values I want to plot at the line positions included in A for company 1. So the way to do this is to put DL5, that means my value position 5 here, because they go from 5 to 1, at line A5, which is minus 14, with an adjustment of 0.15, because this is 0, 1 goes there, and my lines go downwards this way up to 24. Actually more, but I stop at 24. And I would like the color of the label to be black. So now I have my first label. And as you can see, because I chose position number 5, I did get the 2.93 at the right place, cash and bank, at company 1. Now you do the same for all the rest, and that is, let's say, position 4. That gives me the 4th value in data labels at line number 4, which is minus 16. So let's try it. There we have our next data label. Label number 3 will be at line position 3 in A, and with the value stored in DL3. There we have it. Now for data label in the second positions, you can put this to 2 and that one to 2, and that way you get your data labels. And the first one, of course, should be on top. That is this one here. minus 22, excuse me, which is further up. Data label number 1. There we go, showing up. Now this can be tweaked. If you don't like how it prints it, you can just, edit. You can put line, let's say, minus 23. And that moves it a bit down. And that way you can adjust the labels. Now you will have to remake the chart without that one. But this is the way I could put labels on my chart. So I will just use my text, which I have here, to calculate the positions, and I will run it and I will go through it after getting all my labels. So once you have your clean plot here and store the values in DL, you can just plot your labels. And there they are. You can adjust them afterwards if it doesn't work. Now for second company, it starts a bit further up. So I will use starting line minus number 27, and I will calculate the A values for the second company. And as you know, in data labels in DL, I use the values from 5 to 1 for company number 1, but the second company will be from 10 to 5 because the DL has 15 values. So you can see here DL has 5 times 3, that's 15 values. So for the second company, calculating the spaces starting with number minus 27 is the same in 5 iterations. I place the I value within the A variable for the line, but I use DL 109876 as correspondent here. So that would be 109876 because that is 5. So you can see here for the second column, it gave me the line numbers a bit differently because they are a bit upwards. So now second company is adjusted. For the third company, I will start at almost minus line 29. Same iteration to get the A, to get the lines. And after a little tweak, because my data labels weren't corresponding to the other ones, I changed the values at different positions slightly. I will show you. So you see the data labels here, the way it's computed by the number of lines here, it wasn't exactly optimal. So this one, A number 2, changed to 20.5, and the fourth one from 13.5 to 14.5. That is just to make the chart look better. Now you yourself, if you don't get the right position, you can always edit the A positions to what you like. So you see 21 got replaced by 20. And that's the way I found out how to make my chart for my report when I really needed the values to show. And this is the end result. You can export it, save as image. You can choose PNG, for example, and save in your directory of choice. Now I won't save it because I already have it, but you can go ahead and save yours. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Stay tuned for new videos and new solutions. I will have some regression analysis and some other optimizing tweaks. See, these are not the normal chart. That is what I'm trying to create in my videos. So if you find this useful, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.